again and again. And this pattern shows up everywhere in the rap game. Even Drake and Future allegedly fell out after dealing with the same woman at one point. That's how small the circle really is. And here's the part nobody really breaks down. The dating pool in hip-hop is very tiny, like way smaller than people think. And to really show you what I mean, let me start this video off with a quick story. A couple years ago, I met this mid-level rapper. He had a Billboard charting record at the time and some decent buzz to his name.
That is always strange to me. Reaction, fair use, reaction video, fair use. I always thought about it. Why are y'all niggas smashing on the same girl? Like, I be hearing maybe they got STDs and they pass it around. It's to get one up on the nigga, but I don't know. All these women in the world, why do y'all like smashing on the same girl? It just, I think it's like an ego stroke, man. Niggas' egos really be stroked out here, bro. But let's continue.
And that was because a friend of mine had gotten invited and I just happened to be the plus one. So I'm backstage or whatever, there's a bunch of people there, right? Music is loud, etc. And then I noticed something really interesting. In the corner of the room, right, there's these three girls, two in red, one in black. And immediately, I actually recognized these women because I'd seen those exact same girls at another rapper show about like 6 months earlier. So I asked my friend, I'm like, hey, bro, who are those three girls in the corner? And then he looks at me and says, bro, they're just a part of the circle. At that point, I didn't really need to ask anything else. And for anybody who's confused, he was basically telling me they're regulars. They move around the whole industry. And that's just one real life example of this entire conversation. Once you really start paying attention, you realize rappers aren't dating from the whole world. They're dating from the same circles over and over. I'm talking same faces, same rooms, same rotation, just behind different doors. Now let's talk about some of those very popular faces in hip hop. Because if you've been anywhere near hip hop culture or even hip hop adjacent, you might recognize at least one of the women on the screen right.
I don't get it. Like, all these hoes out here, y'all niggas stay fucking with the same.
To the left.
Oh, God, she the biggest cum rag in the world, bro. She is the super thought.
Okay. Selena has built a career off of exposing rappers, finessing situations, turning private moments into clout, and she's taken pride in all this. This is her forte. Like, this is what she does. And then we have Ruby Rose. Someone who got her first...
These women basically are prostitutes.
Playboy Cardi. She rode that momentum very nicely, got connected to the right people, and before you know it, she popped up in the Bad and Bougie music video. Wasn't Takeoff left off Bad and Bougie? RP to Takeoff. From there,
I still never understand why Takeoff was left off Bad and Bougie.
She's dated several rappers in a game, built a massive IG presence, dropped music, launched an OnlyFans account. Now, Ruby is interesting because she really understood the environment very early on and turned...
I like Ruby Rose's music, though. I wonder why she never really popped off. Like, she pretty as fuck.
Onto the game early and capitalized off of all of it, securing her own bag in the process. You gotta respect it. And then there's India Love, someone who didn't just pop up on Instagram like most people think. India actually first popped off on Tumblr back during that whole, aesthetic edits, it girl era.
She pretty too, though. She a little better than shit.
Even became the move.
She'd have been with everybody, the whole industry.
So by the time Instagram blew up,
let me pause it. I'm talking a lot, but this bitch been on the whole industry. Now she talking about she gave her life to God and looking for marriage. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, it's amazing how these women be ran through industries that been fucked, sucked the whole block. I mean, these hoes have been playing killer man with the whole industry, getting ran through, ransacked, been cum rags, cum wipes. I mean, bukkakied on. I mean, skeeted on. Oh man, and suck every rapper's dick. Now, all of a sudden, they want to get married and have a family. Boy, there's a sucker out there who gonna do it. DDG kissing all in the mouth, hanging and doing videos with her. Like, that's a couple. Like, bro, she been with every nigga, bro. Like, she's an industry slut. What are you doing?
Into that OG IG baddie / model, whatever you want to call it, right? Lane. So she's been in the mix for over a decade, and her first major mainstream moment came from her relationship with the game. At the time, she was 18, and he was 35. 35? I know.
And he must be a daughter, bro.
I know.
She must be his child.
Yeah. And from that point forward, she's basically been connected to the same circle ever since.
She must have got some fire pussy.
Definitely not least, we got Brittany Renner.
Oh,
she's
God.
Another woman who's been in the mix for years. And yeah, she's mostly known for finessing the athletes, but she's been around the rap world as well. She dated Lil Uzi Vert actually way back, and she was even married to Kevin Gates for like 2 business days. Now, all of these women are basically the faces everybody recognizes when people talk about the women who've been connected to the industry's biggest rappers for years. But here's the thing. This whole pattern, this rotation, this ecosystem, it didn't start with these women. Before the IG models, before the industry girl even became a term, it all started with one woman, a big throwback, a name from the blog era a lot of y'all will probably recognize, Kat Stacks.
I'm Kat Stacks. I got a lot of stories to tell. The people I expose in my blog aren't all the people I've been with. I've been to Lil Wayne's crib. I've been to them. A nigga give me $1,200 motherfucking dollars.
For everyone tuned in during the blog era, you already know who this is. The first real rap groupie the internet ever saw. She was loud, unfiltered, unapologetic, and the
This bitch
definition
is
of
ugly
I'll
as
say whatever
fuck.
I want to say. And her whole brand was basically exposing rappers. And the thing about Kat Stacks is she actually ended up revealing something nobody was even thinking about back then. And that was that rappers only deal with a select group of women. Now, Kat wasn't just around rappers. She was inside the parts of the industry people never see. And because she was proudly shameless, she talked about everything that she saw behind the scenes.
It was all publicity, entertainment, because to them, I just see them as business, not friend type. My family's my friend, but they're just business.
Now that clip right there, that was Kat in her purest form. No filter, no secrecy, no protect the brand. Like this woman she just didn't give a fuck, okay? And she moved exactly like that. In a lot of ways, Kat Stacks became the blueprint for what we now call the industry girl. And yeah, let's be honest, she was definitely clout chasing like crazy. That was her whole hustle. But here's the funny part. Even while she was doing it for attention, she was accidentally pulling back the curtain on something way bigger than her. She showed you the same thing over and over again. These rappers
She ain't
are
even pretty, though.
basically
This is
all
like a basic
the
hood
same group of
mud
women.
shark.
And once you put those pieces together, you finally understand why this keeps happening. It all comes down to one thing, and that word is access. Who gets in, who stays in, who even has the proximity to step into the room in the first place.
One of the first questions that someone asked was why rappers recycle the same women. I wonder why.
I'll tell you this. I think they recycle the same women because are all in the same circle.
When people talk about access, here's what it really means. Rappers aren't choosing from the world. Their environment is choosing for them. They deal with whoever is actually available in their world, not the millions of people the internet imagines. And once you take a look at the rooms they're actually moving in, studios, backstage, private events, late night sessions, that huge dating pool everybody thinks exists shrinks very fast. The circle becomes tiny, not because they don't have other opportunities, but because those are the only people who even exist in their day-to-day reality. Because the truth is this, most artists spend their days locked in studios, catching last-minute flights, doing press runs, moving city to city, sleeping strange hours, surrounded by the same team, in the same environments on repeat. So even though they're technically meeting people every day, they're not making real connections with anybody. Their schedule doesn't allow it. Their security, depending on what level they're at, doesn't allow it. Their fame, depending on what level they're at, doesn't allow it. So naturally, they end up dating the people who are already
style and substance in
the mix, already in those rooms, already accustomed to their lifestyle. And once you understand that, the whole question of why do all these rappers date the same women starts making a lot more sense. And here's the thing, this whole dating ecosystem they're in, it's basically one big recommendation loop. Because most of these dudes are not best friends, but they all move in the same exact circles. In other words, they're doing shows together, which means they're backstage together. They're at the same studio sessions. They share the same promoters, security, videographers, they go to the same
Managers.
clubs and the same after parties. And what happens is this, once a woman gets close to one rapper or is even seen around him, her name automatically travels through that whole network. Yeah, she been around the homies. Yeah, she's solid. Yo, she a little crazy, but she's definitely loyal. She's safe. She knows how to move. Whatever, right? That's the recommendation loop. It's not organized. It's just how the industry operates. So when a woman enters that world, she's not just dating one rapper. She's basically introduced to the whole gang by default. Because once you're in that circle, you're accessible to everybody inside that world. To them, she's the safe option. Not the best option, not the baddest option, far from, because a lot of the fans be way better than these industry women, right? That's another conversation. She's just the familiar one. And yes, it's very transactional in most cases, but nobody looks at it like that. Because at the end of the day, these are all grown adults coming together, knowing what it is, and they're all benefiting from it somehow. So it's really just the unspoken system that's been a part of hip hop forever. Now let me give you guys a clear example of what I mean. Y'all know Sexy Red, right? Of course you do. Now, before Sexy Red blew up, she wasn't living this superstar lifestyle. On one interview with Sean Kine from Say Cheese, she talked about having like $30 in her pocket back then. She was broke, she was grinding, she was trying to figure things out. And here's the interesting part, right? Before Sexy Red became popular, she was already spending a lot of time in Chicago, specifically around rapper FBG Duck, who was popping in Chicago before he got killed in 2020.
You met FBG Duck before he passed, and you traveled to Chicago to meet. Was it to meet him specifically?
No, it was to shoot my video.
And this footage of Sexy Red being around FBG Duck and a bunch of other people somewhere, I don't know where this is. This footage popped up when Sexy
Yeah, she
Red
been
started
slinging that pussy
blowing
around.
up.
What's the rap name?
I don't know yet. Something with red though.
Now, I'm not saying that anything happened between them. That's none of my business. Like, generally, I don't even care, right? The point is this. She was already inside that environment. She was already around that circle. She already had proximity to the culture before she ever had a name in the game. Even after that, Sexy Red was allegedly connected to Chief Keef at one point, and I'm pretty sure they were dating. I'm pretty sure, but it's another conversation.
Probably
right?
cracked her.
Again,
He
same
probably
circle,
fucked.
same ecosystem,
The Chief Keef got a
same
lot of baby
visibility.
mamas.
Sexy Red didn't pop out of nowhere. She was already moving through the exact rooms that eventually pulled her into the industry. And that's how this world works. Once you're inside those environments, you're not connected to one person, you're connected to the whole network. And that network runs on one thing, familiarity. Because here's the part that nobody really ever talks about, which is something that I touched on earlier. Although these women may not be the best option or even, the most attractive one, they're usually the most predictable option. And when I say predictable, I mean this. They already understand the lifestyle, the chaos, the late nights, the pressure. So rappers don't have to explain themselves or risk being misunderstood. And honestly, that applies to anybody. You don't have to be a rapper to relate to this, right? Whatever life you live, you don't want to sit there breaking down your whole schedule, your stress, your routine to somebody you're dating. You just want somebody who gets it. And predictability goes a very long way in an industry where nothing else is predictable. Think about it like this. Being a rapper today means living in constant uncertainty. 1 month you're up, the next month you're praying the algorithm isn't killing you. One mistake can ruin an entire rollout. One headline can tank your momentum. There's no stable schedule, no routine, no structure. So when everything around you is chaos,
Fair use,
your brain
fair use,
naturally
fair
gravitates
use.
towards whoever feels familiar. And psychologists call this the familiarity bias. You don't need to graduate from Harvard to understand this. It's very simple. Your brain likes what it recognizes. Your brain trusts what it's seen before, even if it isn't the best choice. It's the easier choice because you know it. When your whole life is
Damn, but Khaled was
unpredictable,
with
the familiar
Tiger.
woman,
Then she
the
go
one
with
already in
Travis.
those rooms,
He holds
already
a bit
around
with
the scene,
everybody.
already used to the lifestyle, automatically becomes this.
I will say women choose their baby daddy, bro. Women choose their baby daddy. Kylie could have got pregnant by Tiger, but she said, nah, Travis Scott got that bag. Women choose their baby daddy, bro. Like, Amber Rose could have got pregnant by Kanye. She didn't want to. Kim Kardashian could have got pregnant by all them niggas she been ran through. I mean, getting slayed, being slaughtered. And she decided to get pregnant by Kanye. So women decide who they get pregnant by. Women choose their baby daddy, bro. The men don't choose their baby mama. Women choose their baby daddy.
Safer pick. There's no time to slow walk a new relationship, no time to figure out who's real and who's clout chasing. So the people already in that circle, the faces they've seen or watched move in that environment, either on social media or in real life, end up becoming the safer choice by default. I remember something Tupac said back in the 90s. He spoke about this exact topic in one of his records. The song is called All About You. And the hook goes, every city we go, every video.
Oh, that's my favorite Tupac song.
And at the end of the song, Snoop Dogg jokes about flipping through different music videos and seeing the same exact women in every single one. So they've been talking about this for decades. The only difference
Shit
now
been
is
going
that
around.
the internet made it impossible.
They've been doing this shit since the beginning of
Social media
time.
amplifies everything. Who's dating who popped out with who unfollowed who. And that pattern becomes a form of promotion in itself, because when two recognizable names link up, it's not just a relationship, it's a headline, it's a storyline. It's free marketing on both sides. The circle didn't get smaller, the visibility just got louder, and that's thanks to social media. At the end of the day, it all comes down to proximity. When
I
the same
forgot
five
Meek
people
was
are
with
the
Nicki.
same
Damn.
living the same lifestyle every single day, of course they're going to end up dating the same people. Of course we see the same faces linking up. So the real question is this: does hip-hop actually have a dating problem, or is it just a lifestyle that comes with it, the environment, the reality of being stuck in a world where proximity decides everything. I guess that's where I would ask you, why do you think rappers keep dating the same women? If you made it this far, drop a like on this video. Clearly this conversation resonated with you. Definitely let me know in the comment section.
Yeah, man. That's one of my favorite songs right there. Hoes being hoes, bro. Whew. Let's see. Let's get another one in. Let's get another one. Let's do it.
Take $10 right now, or let me show you how you can save hundreds easily.
Shout out to Black
Definitely the
Speakies.
All right, we need to download.
Blackie Speakies,
Now, if you're on certain
man.
spaces of TikTok and social media, I'm sure a lot of people have heard the term YN. Not to be confused with Young Ninja. YN stands for Young Nigga, which is a slang popularized by rap culture. The term is supposed to represent young black men, mostly teens, and is heavily associated with the image of a black face, often in connection with erratic behavior, which 99% of the time involves hurting people, whether that be stealing, robbing, or just being belligerent. However, this term is not defined by skin color. It's more a mindset that the new generation of young people are taking on. We're talking about children as young as 10 being influenced by the behaviors that come with this term, and they're mainly being influenced by it through different forms of media, social media being the main one. But we also have music.
Man, they gotta stop hyping this shit. This YN shit gotta stop, bro. These young guns, young ninjas out here being reckless, bro.
As well. And in this video, I want to talk about why the YN mindset is slowly ruining society. Rapper King Von, who died back in 2020, might be the poster boy for this conversation. Because Von was not only the physical representation of what the YN term is associated with, which is a black...
Fair use. Man, King Von was the epitome of a fucking demon, bro. He was Lucifer, satanic influence, bro. No way this man had any good in him. Like, I don't believe any sliver of good was inside of this man. Like, this man was a fucking shitbag, a scumbag. He was the devil, bro. Reincarnated. He was Satan him in the flesh, Lucifer in the flesh. I mean, when you rap about the type of shit King Von rap about, you had to be in that shit. It was too graphic, too gore, horrifying. It was a fucking nightmare, man. He's a real life O-Dog.
But he took pride in being the way he was. And then he got himself into an altercation in November 2020.
He got unalive.
Got himself killed. Now, Von is just one example out of many, but he was a famous rapper. So he managed to, at the very least, reap the rewards from operating this way. Through the means of making a bunch of money from his music, he gained a lot of notoriety, fame, and recognition during his short-lived career. And although Von isn't here anymore, his music continues to influence kids all over the world in a negative way.
You say you want to come ride with us? Yeah. What you gonna do though, like, if you get caught?
I snitched. I actually went to Doobie because I teacher with scissors. You can answer it. I chased my teacher with scissors.
Yeah?
I chased my teacher with scissors and I stabbed her and they said, "Oh, you're going to Doobie for 3 months."
Hey, Keith, you gotta chill though, but that's not cool.
Huh?
It's not cool to be bad.
It is cool. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm just trying to be like my idol,
Who your idol?
King Von.
What the?
Now, that clip that I just played you, I thought was some kind of like skit when I, first came across it, but it's actually real. Here we have a young black boy around the age of 10 or 12 being asked
boy is
about
a
riding
menace to
around with
society,
gunmen
bro.
on a robbery spree. He's bragging about having been to juvie, how he hurt his teacher.
He's
and that
preparing
he
their
fought
kids
him
for the
once in a
penitentiary.
spree. And by the way, the title of this YouTube short, which is over 5 million views, is Crazy YN Chased His Teachers with Scissors.
Could have
Now,
paralyzed
the
this
question I had
lady,
when I
bro.
seen this video was, why is this
This is
adult
evil,
male
bro.
in the
This
car
is
making
demonic.
suggestions to this kid? That's a whole nother issue, right?
Satanic,
This is
bro.
something we don't talk about often enough. It's not just thousands. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of young people, might be in the millions at this point, adopting a similar way of thinking, being, and moving. And sadly, most of them are young black teens. But then again, like we stated, it's not a race thing, but more of a cultural thing. We're gonna dive into that later. And for the more mature crowd watching this video, right, who may not be on social media or even have, let's say, young nephews, nieces, or children growing up in this, new age of social media, a lot of you guys might actually be confused and completely in the dark about this YN mindset that I'm talking about. Maybe this is the first time you're hearing about this. If that's the case and you enjoyed this conversation so far, drop a like on this video, right? For others, especially all the younger people who watch this channel, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And then we have, people like myself, kind of in the middle where where I'm connected to it in a lot of ways and I see what's happening, but obviously I'm old enough to have enough sense to know how dysfunctional it is for society in general. First, we got to get clear about one thing, which is the YN term is a term that propagates a negative stereotype of black boys. For most
I feel
people
like
who know
Pooh
about the term and
Shiesty
what it means,
was
when they
like
think
a
about
major
it,
influence
what
behind
probably
that
pops
shit.
up in their mind visually is a young black teen with a ski mask, maybe a company with a Glock 45, robbing people and being a menace. And that's something I personally think is a problem.
Being
right?
a criminal.
It shouldn't be like that, but obviously it is, and there's some reasons behind it, and we're going to get into that later on. Now, the term to me isn't actually the issue, as crazy as it sounds, because if it stopped at just being words, there wouldn't be anything to talk about. The biggest problem is the mindset behind it and the energy.
Fair use, fair use.
For anyone who's heard the term YN, you've also probably heard crash out. Crash out is more of a mainstream way of describing when someone completely loses control, acts off emotion, ego, or pain with no thought for the consequences that may follow. I think Duke Dennis, who's a popular streamer, he explained it perfectly.
Crashing out is making a decision in a split second that could throw your whole life away. That's what crashing out is. Crashing out is, I'm ready to die about it. I'm ready to go to jail about it. Right now, whole time the situation is not even worth going to jail about or dying about.
And shout out to Duke Dennis for the very proper explanation. In other words, you lose all logic and reasoning and let your emotions guide you towards an action.
I like how he broke that shit down. He broke that shit down. I respect Duke for that. That very
crash out describes a general way.
too many crash out dummies upholding this behavior, being a crash dummy. Crash out don't get you nowhere but in the pen, being with a bunch of gay ass niggas in jail, smelly feet and shit. Why y'all boys trying hard to go to jail, trying hard to die? What is wrong with? Don't y'all like living? Don't y'all like being free? I love my damn freedom.
Without taking the person into account. So crash out can be about just about anybody, right? It can be about someone who's 15 years old, or it can be about someone who's 85 years old. YN is, however, catered towards the younger generation. And like we stated, it's often associated with young black teens. Now the question is, what is considered YN behavior? Well, let's put it like this, right? Anything that's reckless, belligerent, and violent. So let me give a few examples, right? Smash and grabs are a prime example of this. Back in 2020, specifically around the time of the 2020 riots, we saw a spike in a very specific type of crime, and it was called smash and grabs. Smash and grabs, for anyone who doesn't know, is a term that describes a type of crime where a bunch of people run into a store. Most times,
What are they gonna do with the jewelry? What are they gonna sell it to? What are y'all gonna do with it though?
They break the windows, they run inside, take a bunch of shit, and they just dip, right? A lot of this was happening.
This
in the
is
major
so
cities,
careless,
like
bro.
New York, Los Angeles, etc.
This is nonsense. This is foolishness, bro.
Going on politically during that time, yes, but I think the pandemic and COVID-19 was a turning point for sure. I don't know about you, but I noticed how humans became way more, disconnected from each other after 2020 overall, and the way we interacted with each other as humans, right? But also what people were willing to do to others as far as hurting their fellow human beings. So with that shift, I noticed, and maybe you noticed this as well, I noticed how a lot of crimes were becoming way more vicious. You started hearing more and more about old people getting beat up and robbed. Gang violence became way more intense.
These niggas ain't got no moral compass.
Started getting caught in the middle of it.
They don't have they don't have
less concern for each other, and individuals
no morale anymore. They don't give a shit, bro. They just living. They just living life so carelessly, man. They don't give a fuck, man. They don't.
A bunch of teens running inside a store. Let's say a
This is terrible. They don't care about nothing. These motherfuckers don't give a shit.
And sometimes they arrive in, big ass groups, right? All ski masked up, looking like Pooh Shiesty.
Sunday, a group of thieves stole from the Nike store in East LA. We are blurring their faces here
ski
because they
mask.
appear to
You ain't
be
even snowing.
juveniles. And last week, a flash mob robbery occurred at the Americana at Brand, one of developer Rick Caruso's properties. He says
Niggas out here looting and shit.
security systems and armed
This is
guards,
terrible, bro. This is
still
horrible.
happened.
And sometimes they arrive by themselves, like this man at this Apple store, and they, clean out the whole spot.
I ain't. Niggas acting like a bunch of heathens, bro. This niggas out here just snatching phones. Just steal them. Putting them in his pants. Fucking idiot. Dude, they gonna catch your dumb ass in front of the police
Not
car.
only did he clean out the whole spot of all their iPhones, put all the phones in his boxers, but he did all that and literally walked past a police car. If that ain't talent, bravery, and confidence in one,
These
I don't
niggas
know
is
what it is.
brazen.
All jokes aside, right? This is what
Niggas
people
are doing
associate
brazen
with YN.
crimes
All
in
those images
daylight.
that pops up in people's heads is a black male or teen rocking a Pujasi ski mask. Let's focus on the behavior itself, because that's
Those
what we're
phones
talking
have
about.
trackers in it,
Mindset
you
is a
big
way of
idiot.
behaving, operating, and seeing the world. You don't think the consequences of your actions will catch up to you. Like this clip of this white kid talking a bunch of trash to a police officer and getting manhandled.
Okay, yeah. You ain't gonna get shit.
Oh shit. They have no respect for authority.
I'm writing your shit. Take it up.
Oh shit! Shit got real.
These days,
Shit
okay?
just
Let's just say that the end result was the young man begging for mercy on the ground, okay? Now, rap music has been a huge proponent of pushing the normalization of the YN mindset. And this is
This
something I've been
slack.
here for years in different
This
countries.
is slack. Bro, I'm not gonna be a YN. I'm not going to jail, bro.
KK's or killing one of the most famous drill rappers at
29 years.
only 15 years old. That's a concoction of crash out and YN behavior. And you often see memes about this
Straight
kind of thing.
loser.
You see
What a
an actual
fucking
real
loser.
Conversation about what's created this phenomenon and why it needs to be abolished.
Open a Chime checking account in 2 minutes and get paid earlier to enjoy a festive spring.
Talking about young people in large amounts, acting reckless, belligerent, hurting people in the process without any regard for how it's going to affect their lives and others. And it's also not that the older generation, let's say the 80s babies, weren't on demon time during the crack era, okay? Because they obviously were. Just ask your parents. It's just that we keep on seeing more recklessness and more innocent people getting caught in the middle of it. And a lot of this is being televised to an entire generation of young children through social media. And the number one, commonality that I've observed in this type of behavior is structure or lack thereof. Often when you see this type of behavior in society, either in your own backyard or in close proximity to you or the people you love, you'll notice how a lot of these young boys, right? Specifically young boys, because young girls aren't out here like putting on ski masks and like robbing stores, right? Most times they're not. In 99% of the cases, they're not, right? You'll notice how a lot of these young boys come from fatherless households, and 9 times out of 10, they were most likely raised by a single mother.
Single mammy.
We also see another thing, which is they either come from an
That's nobody talk. I keep saying this on my channel. These single mother households are breeding criminals. They're breeding fucking criminals, felons. Single mother households is a pipeline to the penitentiary. I'm gonna say it again. Oh my gosh, I gotta do a video about this. Single motherhood is pipelines to the penitentiary, guys. Are pipelines to the penitentiary. It's the pipeline, bro. They are breeding hardened criminals. Just straight menaces, ruthless savages, heartless criminals who don't respect authority and will die in prison and be a part of the prison industrial complex. That is what single motherhood. This music, I'm not blaming music. Music is entertainment. But you motherfuckers who taking this shit serious is going to be in prison. See, these rappers have money. They're in PC. They have great lawyers, high-paid lawyers to beat cases. Yo, broke ass don't. You work at Walmart.
impoverished background. If not that, at the very least, we're talking about a working class background. And here's the thing. What happens when a father is absent in a lot of cases? Well, according to the studies, this has been very well documented. They say the following. Research shows when a child grows up in a father-absent home, he or she is 4 times more likely to live in poverty, more likely to suffer emotional and behavioral problems. Children of single mothers show higher levels of aggressive behavior than children born to married mothers. And number 4 is very major because it kind of goes hand in hand with this topic, and that is more likely to go to prison. 1 in 5 prison inmates had a father in prison. And then at number 5, which is very, very, very important for this topic, more likely to commit crime. Studies of juvenile offenders indicate that family structure significantly predicts delinquency. Number 8, we have more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol. And then at number 10, we have 2 times more likely to drop out of high school. Now, obviously, not every single teen who comes from this type of background ends up committing brazen crimes or acts belligerent or shows a lack of self-control in spaces.
Don't have any self-control, belligerent, rudeness, disrespectful.
First of all, a big one that's not emphasized is personality. You can come from the worst conditions and have every single obstacle against you known to mankind.
Man, listen, bro. And a lot of these people, these street dudes, they're very manipulative. They're controlling. They go out psychology, how you move and how you talk, and they see how they can exploit you and take advantage of you and use your weakness, your kindness for a weakness. And this is what they do to you and get over on you. Give them an inch, they take a mile. So you had those people who brands in the city and the suburban kids, and they'll trick them off the streets and take advantage of them, taking their money and had them do dumbass shit and take all their money and buy drugs with the damn money with the suburban kids. And had the suburban kids trying to fit in with the street kids. And now they catching cases and doing crime. Because they try to fit in with them. Man, it's fucked up, bro. They like to use people, bro. All these street people do is use people and convince people to be criminals like them. They manipulative, bro. They're perpetrating liars. They're fucking losers, man. They're perpetrating liars, bro. They manipulate the weak-minded people. These street guys, hood guys are not good friends, bro. They're not good people to be around and deal with.
If you're not naturally inclined to be this type of person, you're not going to put on a mask and start robbing old folks, right? And on the other hand, you can come from a household of love, two loving parents. You know, your name could be Clarence, and if you find the idea of being a menace to society appealing, then that's the path you're going to go down. And then we, of course, have a mix of this along with environmental influences, which we'll touch on later. Aside from that, another aspect of this is, back in the day, there used to be this thing called a rite of passage, something you did that marks the transitional phase of your life into adulthood. And this rite of passage added a layer of accountability to them as people, and it set a precedent that said, you're now responsible for your own life, so act accordingly. Nowadays, we don't have any of that. Culturally, things are less structured. I mean, this young new generation doesn't really even know how to follow authority. Just take a look at what's happening with teachers and their students now.
Disrespect from students. In the 3 years that I've been teaching, I've been cussed at countless times. I've been called fat. I've been called a B word.
A lot of young people from this generation think that following basic instructions like sit down or put your phone down is a sign of disrespect. A lot of the youth who adopt this Hawaiian mindset actually come from loving households.
Fair
They don't
use.
have to worry about missing meals or going to sleep without.
All right, guys. Y'all want to finish watching on Black Speaky channel, Fair Use. I love his channel. Very insightful, man. He dropping a lot of gems and knowledge. Y'all go subscribe to my channel, subscribe to his. We out of here.